Welcome, everybody, to the Dill with It podcast, as well as the Clubhouse event. I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the Clubhouse room, as well as those who are listening on their favorite podcasting apps. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is episode 3, which we're titling Pickleball Voyeurism. And so I got Vinny Hankey with me here, chatting about pickleball voyeurism, and he's going to define that for us. What is pickleball voyeurism?
Hey, David, thanks for opening up and just leading the initiative to get pickleball out into the world as we get one step closer to world domination. I think eventually we'll just decide that the whole world is a pickleball court and we're just trying to smash.
That's right.
But until then, one episode at a time. So pickleball voyeurism. For me, pickleball voyeurism is when you get caught watching an exciting game of pickleball while participating in a match of your own. And so this has happened to me more than once, where I just get caught like watching. It might be level 4 or 5 or 5+ players playing a couple courts down, and you can just hear the speed, the volley, the athleticism, and you just get caught drifting, man. Your eyes wander.
It's that temptation of infidelity, right?
It absolutely. I'm not faithful to my own partner or to my own match on the court. Not a struggle at all in marriage, but certainly a struggle on the pickleball court.
Oh, it's true. I'm pretty sure it happens to everybody here. We're going to chat a little bit about that today. First question for you, Vinny, is when do you find yourself falling into this temptation of infidelity?
Yeah, a couple different times that I think I'm able to put my finger on. One is when I am playing with a player that is particularly better than I am, and so they are controlling the court action, and I end up like watching in mid match, or like there's a volley going on that isn't quite involving me, and so I will drift off and look to the court to my right, or to my left, depending on my court position. So that happens, and then I just got to be honest if I'm just in an uninteresting match. Like if it's a blowout on either side, and I'll just get distracted and start paying attention to the other games going on around me and wondering what the scores are, or watching people like that are just in it. And I just got to be just full confession time.
Dude, I hear you. That's totally me. Because I am one of the better players in our little pickleball group. So I find my wandering eyes occurring, especially when I'm playing with beginner players, and especially when there's a shot that's like rolling off the court and the ball travels like a court or 2 courts over. You're kind of staring there and you're watching the guys play, and they wouldn't grab the ball, and like subconsciously you hear that number like 071, right? And you're like, I think that was my score, but I'm interested what's going on over here. And then I hear the crack of the paddle, and I'm like, oh, all right, game on. I gotta go back into there. So totally understand when it comes to, the game is less interesting to me, and I definitely have those wandering eyes.
Yep, absolutely, been there. Yep. Or just as another time too, like if I'm not playing particularly well, that's a time when I just find myself like wandering, like, I'm gonna spectate a little bit, mid match or in between points, and just watching some players get after it.
Yep, kind of cover ourselves. We're like, we just want to see what they were doing to see if I could pick up any tips or anything. But
that's all I was doing. I'm a visual learner. I need to see it happen.
Oh, that's funny. But really, it's just I'm sucking, and this is boring.
Yep, that's the one.
Why do you think pickleball voyeurism happens? Why do you think that happens? And we kind of talked about when it happens, but why do you think it happens?
Yeah, I think for one, I tend to be drawn to games that are particularly intense or particularly involve higher skilled players. So I think excellence is attractive, right? Like everything from late night Sports Center highlight reels with Michael Jordan, or watching reruns on YouTube of him play. Yeah. Like excellence is attractive. And so I think for that reason, and then one, like there's just a particular sound when there's a live rally going and that pickleball is bouncing back and forth, especially at the volley line. If you got 4 guys or gals, really getting after it, it's fun to watch too. I think So I think that there's a couple of reasons. One is just pickleball can be fun to watch when it's played at a high level, and then excellence is always attractive.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, I'm sure you picked up my dog barking there. That's fantastic.
No worries. Louis is a pickleball enthusiast.
Dude, he totally is. He agrees, right? Wandering
Yep.
eyes,
Yeah, those are
temptations.
amens. Yep.
I would agree. Why do I fall into that temptation? Why I feel like it's just I'm bored. It's really what what boils down to. I'm
Yeah, a little
bored
discontent.
and I exactly the paddles and the cracks of the paddles hitting back and forth and you watching these guys, hitting quality shots and quality points, and we're over here on the third shot every time, hitting it in the net or hitting it long. It's less exciting. So unfortunately, that's kind of the nature of the game, I suppose. When especially kind of what we talked about, it's the elitism and watching people who are better and wanting to see what they're doing and getting excited about what's going on beside you. Plus, I just think the grass is always greener, right? I'm sure that they have those moments too where they're wandering and looking over at us. I'm like, man, look at how good that is. They're having fun. They're pumped, excited. People are cheering. I'm sure they have the wandering eyes as well. So, you just don't ever feel that or see that when you're playing because you're the one on this side and not, you're on the other side of the fence where the grass is greener for them.
That's right.
So when you're wandering, this is kind of an interesting question I found. When you're wandering, what is the best point you've seen while voyeurisming?
So I managed to catch one time a guy go around the pole, which I've unsuccessfully attempted. Just not remembering that is a move or a strategy. Mm-hmm. So I saw a player go around the pole. He drifted. There was a cut shot to the outside line. He came around and hit it around the pole and back into play, and it was able to recover and get back into position. So that was a pretty cool point to watch and just fun to see it actually happen live.
Yeah, as your team lost 2 points because you weren't paying attention.
Yeah. I've had that happen. Yeah, I've lost a point. I can't lie. I've lost a point. Again, like if there's a rally going on that I'm not really involved in, a couple players or, my partner and the players on the other side of just the ball positioning and court positioning ends up, moving me out of play for 2, 3, 4 shots, then all of a sudden there's a ball at my feet. I'm like, how'd that happen? Where'd that come from? What's going on here?
That's weird.
Is it my turn? Yeah, just all those.
Whose serve is it?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's funny. I think for me, we play at a specific park, and there's some older guys who play, and one gentleman in particular is not the most nimble out there. He's super tall, and I don't know how he continues to play because every time he moves, I feel like he's gonna trip over his own feet and fall and break his hip. It's kind of what I watch, and I'm like, gosh. But I'll tell you what, that guy for not being able to move, I catch myself. If I'm voyeurisming, it's watching this guy not fall over. I mean, and he's in points, and it's insane. 20 shot points. He's going back, and he looks like he's gonna fall, and I'm like, oh no, he didn't fall. Okay, good. And then he tries to backpedal. I'm like, and he doesn't fall again. I'm like, this is crazy. And then I have to pay attention to my game, but I'm kind of look both ways now. What's going on? And this one point that I was voyeurisming. I mean, 20 shots back and forth, and he had it all overhead whiffs, and his partner comes around and saves him. There was this dink that he was running toward, and I thought he was going to eat it into the net, and he managed to get it somehow. And I was just like, this is amazing. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to pay attention enough to my game to watch. Oh man. But anyway, he ended up winning the point with a down the line shot, a touch shot. And I was like, dude,
nice.
This guy is stellar for having what appears to be a double hip replacement surgery. And I almost think he has a cane that he plays with, but he doesn't. Oh man.
Right.
It's phenomenal. But that's who I usually catch myself voyeurisming, is this guy who I feel like is two steps away from calling the ambulance on. but manages to get the point in. It's great.
Yep. Yep. The beauty and nature of pickleball. That's awesome. So we've talked a little bit about why it happens, some of the good points we've seen while watching, but obviously it's a bad habit, right? And it's one that we want to break. So what is the antidote, or how can we, as confessed pickleball voyeurists, stop falling into the alluring temptation of watching other courts? What's the key to improving that part of our game?
Well, clear. I mean, we talked about it a little bit in previous podcasts, but really, it's the focus, right? It's paying attention. It's staying in the point. It's mental restraint, mental maturity, mental focus. Mm-hmm. Mental strength, whatever word you want to choose. I totally think it's that, and always having that willingness to kind of plan and course correct throughout the point and throughout the match. It keeps you excited about what's actually happening in front of you, as opposed to what's happening to your left or right.
Yep. Yeah, I think focus is the key. We were so we've had some warmer weather regionally lately, mm-hmm. So we made it out, and my wife got a new pickleball paddle today. So ooh. We made it out to the court just to go out and work some things and practice a little bit. So we played skinny singles, mm-hmm. and we talked about focusing on feet position and paddle position and the approach of the ball. Mm-hmm. And so just thinking, that was one of the things we talked about, was focus, and how, kind of keeping a mental checklist while playing and being aware. One, will just help your overall game, but two, will absolutely keep you from pickleball voyeurism, because you're thinking about your game and staying present in the moment. Mindfulness is a good word mm-hmm. for that. Like, I'm mindful of where I'm at on the court, mindful of how the paddle feels in my hands, and mindful of what's going on around me on my court, in my match, on this, specific point. Mm-hmm. Those are the keys, I think, for me to focus on or to think about.
Mm-hmm. And I think playing singles actually helps you focus more, right? Because you're not dependent upon another player, or the opponents aren't trying to hit it at the other player, kind of keeping you out of the point, or that kind of technique or strategy. Like, I watch the pros, and I watch especially like mixed doubles. I don't know if you've seen mixed doubles, but a lot of the times the men in the mixed doubles play a lot of the dinking points, basically playing like 2/3 of the court, or like 75% of the court, and the ladies are playing the other one. And I would imagine the focus when it comes to being the ladies requires much more intensity to stay in the point, even though the guys are hitting the vast majority of the shots. And that's the mental fortitude that you need to have in order to stay present. Like, I think singles, when I've played singles, I don't have as much of a wandering, because it's literally just me, and I have to constantly see what's going on. I think the only time I do is what I talked about. If the ball's rolling 2 courts away, I can take a look and see what's going on. Or if I need a break, because let's face it, I am not the skinniest, and I run out of steam quite quickly. And I wish we had timeouts, but we don't ever call timeouts in our little community area. So walking very slowly back to the line is kind of my timeout. And at that point, I stare and see what's going on too.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I think if we played with any kind of strategy and killer instinct, we would keep the ball away from you, and we would just pick on your partner, whoever they might be. In fact, I'm just going to note that, make a mental note right now, that I need to get David watching more and doing less on the pickleball court. That might be my key to victory.
This is the secrets. The secret's out, folks.
That's right. Yeah. Spill the beans.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing not too many people listen in our community right now, because
that's right.
Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily a super secret either. I mean, it's kind of happens currently, but I'm just a ball hog at times. Kind of like the guys with playing with the mixed doubles. It depends on where I'm at. I mean, honestly, like, when it comes to wanting to be aggressive, it really depends on, am I tied at 2-2? Okay, not aggressive. Am I tied at 9-9? Right. Okay, yeah, it's time to turn up the heat a little bit here.
Time to yep. Yeah. That's the LeBron James of the game that I hate about you. Or like the Kobe and Shaq Lakers where they used to just turn it off and then turn it on.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, first quarter, first 3 quarters, no big deal. Fourth quarter, yeah, we're ramping it up. Same idea. I think it's another thing too, like when you're playing with a good partner, that it's easy to fall into watching your partner play.
Mm-hmm.
When they're, particularly if they're performing at an excellent level, or just hitting great shots and returns, and it's easy to get caught watching even within the context of your own match and becoming passive and not set and ready to return. I've had that happen too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the strategies to prevent that kind of voyeurist mentality there is what I try to do with my partner a bunch is to call it either for me or for them.
Yeah.
So that they are aware and they're hearing me say mine or yours so that they can know, hey, the ball's returning. And he just said yours. Oh, that's me. So I have to hit the ball now.
Yep.
So I think that communication is super important.
Totally.
To be able to continue to keep the focus that we talked about, as opposed to falling into temptation of infidelity, of voyeurism.
Right. Yep. That's a great point, man. That team communication, one, just helps your overall play, but two, it captivates your attention using another sense.
Yep.
Right. So it's not just sight and feel, but actually now you're engaging the auditory senses, and I'm engaged at another level. Particularly when you and I play together, I appreciate that about your approach to team play. Is I know exactly which balls are mine because you're calling your, mine and yours while we're playing.
Yep.
Have not been able to translate that into my own game yet, but do enjoy it when you and I have an opportunity to be a team.
Yeah, which actually isn't all that often, unfortunately. I feel like that should happen more often.
Yeah. Shoot, I could use a few more W's under my belt. That's for sure. I feel like I've learned all the humility I need on the pickleball court. I don't need any more humbling on the pickleball court. I'll take all the winning I can get.
So, any other thoughts you have about pickleball voyeurism?
Yeah, I think paying attention to make sure a discontentment with your game or discontentment with your match doesn't leak into it. Like we talked about, if we're playing with lower skilled players or beginners, or we're being overmatched in a game, that we don't grow to be discontent. That it's a privilege and a joy to play pickleball at any and all times. And so I think that's something to pay attention to, that the voyeurism doesn't turn into longing for, a better community or a better court or a better partner, but that you can stay mindful and enjoy the player, the game, the match, the point that you're in. Because really, with every serve, you've got an opportunity to be re-engaged in your game and to turn things around.
Mm-hmm. It's like that meme that you sent me earlier about, what was that again?
Oh yeah, the discontent boyfriend. So I don't know if you've seen it, and I'm not a relational counselor, but I've watched a lot of Oprah. But clearly, this relationship has problems. Is a boyfriend walking down the street with his girlfriend, and he is just absolutely caught red-handed staring at a girl who's walking in the opposite direction, and she's got this like disgusted, whatever face look on her face, and he's just got this, appreciating the beauty of another woman right in the face of his girlfriend. And so I think that's if pickleball voyeurism were a meme, that would be the meme. That is the one. Like, my match, my point is over the girlfriend's picture, and then the other match on the other side of the court is the girl in the red dress walking by.
Speaking of that, it reminds me of remember the Matrix movie where Neo's
the Matrix
and
movie,
he just got plugged into the Matrix after he came out of it, and whatever. He's in that ship.
Yeah.
And he has that one program that the nerdy computer guy created.
Yes.
Like, and he's walking and he's getting hit by all these people in the black suits, and then this like girl in the red dress walks by, and he stops and turns around, and he's like, huh. And then he turns back around, and Smith is pointing a gun at his face. Like, that's what I feel like when I do pickleball voyeurism. It's like, oh, okay.
Yes,
I'm kind of
when
bored.
you get caught.
Kind of bored. Like, what's going on? Oh, take a look. What's going? Ooh, what a great point going on over here. And I look back, and it's like, oh no, the ball's coming, or
Absolutely. Yeah. The worst, like when your partner catches you.
Yeah.
Like, were you, what happened?
What are you doing?
I was staring at the girl in the red dress. Yeah. I was, I wasn't listening, wasn't focused. I wasn't being faithful. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Fantastic.
I see we have some people here in the Clubhouse event room. The topic of the episode 3, really the question is, what causes you to lose focus and pay attention to maybe some other matches going on as opposed to your own? If you want to hop in, that's perfectly fine. If not, we'll continue on. Welcome, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, guys. I'm just stopping in. I cannot incriminate myself with this topic tonight. But I am a rec player, and I think rec players, that's what we do.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah. Quick question for you, Phil, if you're going to stick around here. When do you find this temptation happening most to you?
Well, it's funny. I played Sunday, and I was doing this. And we are talking about, like, we've got this game. It might be a little slow or whatever. And you look over at another game going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's just, I was in the, there's 2 areas. There's 8 courts. 4 courts are for intermediate and more competitive game players. And then more of the intermediate, low intermediate, beginner level for fun. We kind of understand it. So I tend to look over there a lot to see, am I ready to go back over there? Which I think I am, because I haven't played during the pandemic. So in that regard, I'm looking to say, I can play with those guys. I'm just watching the quality of play over there and say, whatever. But there are other reasons I might watch another game.
Yeah, that's kind of what me and Vinny talked about a little bit is checking out the quality of play that's happening over here when your match isn't super exciting. How about you, Kevin? If you want to chop in here, when do you find the temptation of pickleball voyeurism to catch you most?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, what Phil's saying too is like I do find myself looking over. I mean, sometimes it's a little scary when you see not pros, but in your mind maybe pros. Mm-hmm. You're looking out there and you're like, I think I could hang with them, and then of course you get smacked around a little bit, and then you get brought back down. But yeah, of course,
absolutely. And a couple more questions here, guys. Since you joined us, I appreciate that. What is the best point you've seen while pickleball voyeurisming?
Ooh.
Yeah, give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to try to go back to my original days when I started, and because we had the pickleball community was really, really good. I'd have to say it was this one guy that his name was Ray. He was a former tennis player, and he played in flip-flops. And he could make some shots that were just pretty much unbelievable. So you'd look over and you'd see him he just had so many different shots. If he knew you were anticipating a slam or something, he had great placement. So, you pretty much watch him every few minutes. He was making some kind of a great shot. Huh. He had such accuracy.
I got to be honest, just the flip-flops would captivate my attention the whole time. just to see that happen and see that in action.
Yeah. He was about 6 years old too. And I'll tell you what, I never saw him play in a pair of shoes. But and he was lightning fast. So I can't imagine if he was in shoes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It'd be wild.
I mean, for me, I live in Southern California. And you know what was interesting? I started playing out with an older crowd. That's where I started this all. Mm-hmm. And kind of seeing some of the younger crowds really had me turn my head. Around here, it's becoming younger and younger. So some of the athleticism from some of these players that are above my head, like in the sense of I'm 6'7", so to say above my head is figurative and literally. But is that some of this it doesn't have to be an ex-tennis player or an ex-baseball player, basketball player. You can definitely tell when some athletes come out, but at the same time, just pure. This is just it's a different sport, and it takes precision and a lot of things that the natural athlete might not have. Mm-hmm. And God, I was playing yesterday and playing against a guy that was he was 10 times better than I was. And watching him, you could tell he was a baseball player, just the way that he got down to do some backhands and stuff. And I saw some plays that I was just shocked by. And so it's kind of cool to see, because it takes, just because you're one type of player, a lot of type of players succeed in this game. So it's fun to see.
So last question here, guys, for those of you joining us, is how can a pickleball voyeurist stop falling into this alluring temptation? What can we do to stop pickleball voyeuring?
Well, you say that like it's a bad thing. I think at the rec level, again, that's the other thing. I mean, there's time to enjoy and just, I think you do. It would be a problem if it takes away from the game you're on, because that would be showing kind of a little bit of disrespect if you lose track what's going on with your game. And that, by the way, that did happen a week or two ago. I happened to be looking over and watching a play, and they served it at me, and I messed up.
Been there, guilty. Yep, absolutely.
Not many times. I'd say a few times though. I've definitely seen Vinny like, what? Whoops, what's going on?
Yeah, it's like the perpetual right field little league player staring at the butterflies. Oh, whoops. Yeah, there's the ball.
Yeah, how about that?
I always relate it back to other sports, but the thing is, like, you can sit. I love the right field comment, because that's perfect when you said that. Is also, you get better by playing with better.
Mm-hmm.
And if people are going to sit on the sidelines and observe, and I'd rather play with somebody that's better than me. So even if I'm in right field and at least I'm playing the game, so I'd rather be that concept. But yeah, it's I think it's becoming more and more diverse, and then I have a feeling that's kind of maybe hopefully going away once it becomes a little more mainstream. But yeah. I do like that analogy, though, the right field picking the flowers, because that's how it is sometimes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Getting nailed in the chest and having some paintball bruises on it looks like on my chest. So yeah.
Yeah, Vinny and I were just talking about it seems to happen more with us when we're playing doubles as opposed to playing singles, because they may be hitting it toward one person and keeping you out of the play a little bit more, which is then less exciting for you to continue to be engaged, or more difficult for you to focus on what's happening in the point. So that's something that we've noticed on our side.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think in doubles too. In singles, you have more court to play with, right?
Yep.
And so in doubles, sometimes, hey, the job as a defender or receiver is to cut the angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the only angle is right at you.
Yep.
And that's a strategy. It is with me kind of sometimes, just because I'm definitely a guy it's a banger. It's a slapper. It just happens. And again, like I said, I'm 6'7" with a wingspan, and so sometimes I have no other choice but to go hard with it. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Does anybody else have anything they want to add to? Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, M. Thanks for joining us. This is being recorded just so you guys know. Our topic tonight is pickleball voyeurism, and what do you find, or when do you find falling into the temptation of watching people on other courts while you're playing your game?
Oh, that's an interesting topic, and thanks for letting me in. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Just for the sake of letting you know who I am, I'm an addict, and have been for 3 years. And I will watch pretty much every game I possibly can while I'm playing. I have an excuse for it. I hope it's valid. I don't know that it really is, but I tend to be the guy running the facility, so I use that as my excuse. But I've been nasty Nelson a few times for it. So
awesome. What do you think causes it? Like, what causes your voyeurism to happen? Just watching better players, or getting distracted by what's going on, or what?
I definitely get caught watching when I hear a good rally, because you start to hear the crowd, get a little bit loud, and you start to hear the bang, bang, bang really fast at the no volley zone, and so I'll turn my head over and watch. Or before I serve, I might finish watching a good point, and then I turn around and realize I got 3 other people waiting on me.
Well, Vinny and I have never had any crowds watching us, so I'm not sure how that is, but definitely can relate to good points watching that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely watch games. I play primarily on my cul-de-sac, so in between games, I'm definitely watching while I'm having a beer, sitting in the driveway, watching the games progress.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with what Kevin was saying as well. Playing somebody who is better and watching, I think it's different. I think you can learn both ways, but I would prefer personally, if I'm going to just watch something going on, it's nice to watch it. But if I want to improve, definitely playing somebody and seeing what they're doing and getting schooled by them, I think is going to be the key for me to continually improve.
Yeah, no question.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, I was going to ask if it's on topic enough to ask if anyone does any drilling to work to improve.
That's a good question. I don't personally. Mine's just definitely all playing, but I've seen enough videos, and I'm sure you all have too, online of guys and girls hitting against like a ping pong tournament or like a handball court or something, hitting into a square.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely some things on there. I haven't done it, but I've seen it, of course.
So I have the same voyeurism problem there. That's why I was asking the question.
I definitely go ahead.
Friends that had a lobster for a year, and I watched them with it so much I finally just had to break down and go get one just to feel what it was like.
Hey, so one of the things David and I talked about in hoping in avoiding voyeurism while playing is just maintaining mindfulness and focus while on the court. Is there anything you guys find in particular that helps you remain mindful while playing, and even thinking through court position, paddle position? What are some keys to help you focus while you're playing?
I will say this, that look, I'm not aspiring to be a tournament player, let alone a pro. So all the things that are propagated out there about drills and coaching and whatever, it's not really up my alley. But what I was playing with a guy a few years ago, and when I'd first started out, and he was really great. He was a coach. And while we played, though, he told me, I want you just to focus each time on hitting it down the middle of the court on the return. And it was, I remembered it to this day. So in terms of staying focused, that's what I'm always usually telling myself. As fancy as I'd like to get, mm-hmm. hitting angles and such, if I want to just stay in it, I try to just concentrate on hitting returns down the middle of the court. Easier said than done, even though it sounds real easy. And I found that when I'm successful doing that, good things happen.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip, Phil. Does that sound like something that you are like kind of self-talk or self-coaching throughout the game while you're playing or throughout the point, like that you're just mindful of those down the middle shots?
Yeah, I reset my mind each time, and I just say, okay, I'm going to return this, in terms of when I'm at the kitchen line. I'm trying to think of paddle position more now as I get back into the game again after not playing for so long, keeping my paddle where it's supposed to be, ready position. And in my mind, I'm consciously thinking, go, whether it's backhand or forehand, to the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that self-coaching or that self-talk, that's a great key for focus. That's a great point. Thanks, Phil.
That reminds me of my nemesis in high school tennis. His name is Brandon, and he rarely made an unforced error. So it's basically I had to either win the point or screw up in some manner. Like he just constantly backboard, I'd hit a great shot, he'd hit it back right at me or wherever it was, and I'd have to go hit another good shot. So it's definitely a winning strategy. Definitely good tips for beginner, intermediate, and even some advanced. Like I think about Michael Chang when, in the 90s, he was basically that way as well.
I'll tell you, for me, it's one of two things. I either hit a shot I liked or I hit a shot I didn't like during the rally. And in order to keep focused on the game, I think about the shot, whether it's the one I liked or didn't, on my way back to either receive or get ready, for the next point. Going through my head, what did I do? What did I think about ahead of time? Where was I aiming? What was I trying to accomplish? What did I need to do different, or what do I need to do again? that usually keeps me focused in the game.
No, that's great, Kevin. Thanks for sharing that too. Like you just that kind of that self highlight reel of rehearsing back through the point and through the positioning. That's fantastic. That I think that it's self correcting right in the middle of the match or the middle of the game, and not having to wait till the end of the game, but being able to make adjustments on the fly by doing that. That's a great tip.
I'll tell you what comes with it is amnesia. You have to forget all the bad stuff you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it's like the great Kobe Bryant line. Like, you know, he just never remembered any shot he took. Didn't matter. It was
Right.
on to the next play.
Yep. I know Jack Nicklaus in golf. He always said he never missed a 3-footer.
Yep. Yep.
And Gretzky said, "You miss every shot you don't take."
Yep. That's
Yep. That's the one. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate all those good tips, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, confessedly to commit to not be a pickleball voyeur as often. Don't know that I'll ever fully recover. Like Kevin confessed at the beginning, you know, I'm an addict and understand who I am, but I want to do it less and less.
Yep. That's exactly right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for chatting with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having a room on pickleball. It's nice to talk about the fun stuff besides the other stuff.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah. Perfect, guys. I appreciate your time. Hope you have a good
Thanks,
week,
everybody.
and go get them.
Thank you.